Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Caderna podcast. I'm your host, Brian Caderna. In today's episode, I'll be sitting down with Bernard Chong to discuss his fascinating journey from building a family business in the Philippines to dominating the mobile game industry. If you're kind of surprised by how the two compare together, you'll definitely want to stay tuned, as this was an interesting insight in how one can network. Let me give you a quick background on Bernard. Bernard Chong grew up in the Philippines, born into the family business called World Balance, the premier sports and foot brand company in his home country. While pursuing his degree in electronics computer engineering at LaSalle University in Manila, he expanded the family business and honed his sales skills. Since that time, he has become an active angel investor, investing in companies such as ASI Studios, Energy FM, Tim Hortons, RKB Productions, 31 Digital, and more. What I found most intriguing by our conversation is how Bernard has successfully networked through the esports arena. He is the founder of Bren Esports, now called APBren, and his team won the Mobile Legends Bang Bang M Series World Championship title. Now, if you're not familiar with what that is or what that means, just know that they got first place, and there are over 50 million players internationally in this video game. He is also the co-owner of Synergy 88 Studios, which is the Philippines' premier Microsoft-accredited art supplier for mobile games. His global investment footprint includes significant ventures like bringing Tim Hortons to the Philippines, doing infrastructure and commercial property management in Panama, having an international coffee company, which we'll talk about. And it really showcases his knack for identifying and nurturing business opportunities around the globe. Bernard is an avid fan of Legos, chess, and comic books, particularly Batman, and he now resides in Beverly Hills, California, and is a devoted father and family man. You can follow his latest ventures through any of his social media handles at Bren Chong. Now, before we dive into today's conversation, I just want to remind everyone to please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Leave us a review, tell a friend. And if you're interested in sponsoring this show, you can reach out to our team at thecadernapodcast@gmail.com. Now, without further ado, here is Bernard Chong.
Is going to require work and time and sweat and toil.
If money wasn't an issue, what would I be doing?
Don't worry about it. You'll figure it out.
Change is the only constant.
The Caderna Podcast.
And when you say your family business, like in the shoe business, was this like an actual shop where you were selling shoes just to people walking by? No. Or were you actually producing like lines of sneakers?
We are producing. We are a factory. Okay. So we have our own brand and we produce the shoes. But this was like you asked in my earlier years. So it was my grandpa and my father who made the brand. And as a part-time side to earn, I sell shoes to teachers, to classmates, to my uncles, to their families. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And maybe just to give us some insight, because I know a lot of our listeners and viewers here are from the States. In the Philippines, is that kind of par for the course that you would go into a family business? Or do a lot of, young students, do they aspire to college and then kind of go that route into, the STEM programs? Or what, like, were you kind of following a path, or did you kind of blaze your own trail of sorts?
I think the general idea is still study, graduate, and do your work after you graduate. It just so happened that I grew up from a family business. And I think most family business, wherever you are, you kind of learn the ins and outs and how to earn side hustle in your business, because that's part of nature. I mean, if it's near you, you make use of that. So that's what happens with me.
Got it. Okay. No, that makes sense. And so then if you could, I know we're going to kind of work our way up to present day, but you go into the family business, into the shoe business, and I know you started making some money and then you were putting that to work. Where did that come from? I mean, had your parents always said, you want to start investing a piece of your earnings? Were you reading, the classic personal finance books, or, I guess what kind of pushed you out of just the realm of, hey, I'll just try and be the best shoe producer I can be?
Actually, yeah, I learned this from every people that I grew up with, from my father, from my uncle, from my grandparents, from my brothers. As you observe, you learn, and then as you do your life, you read books, you see that, hey, this is kind of something they don't know. I want to try it.
Mhm.
So so it's a combination of things. I think normally a person, when they learn, it's a learn of combination of things. But the surrounding area, the surrounding people you're with is very important.
Oh, 100%. I mean, were you the first to kind of come out of the shoe business, or was that like well, I guess the point that I'm getting at? Sometimes I see, like, even dealing with my clients, that when you have an intergenerational business, we'll see that the people coming up that are going to take the reins, sometimes the parents may want them to go off and kind of chart their own course. Other times they really want to keep their business and their baby going, and their offspring will say, hey, no, we want to go do something else. Was there any of that kind of dynamic there with your dad and your grandpa?
I have an elder brother, and in our
Okay.
tradition, is the eldest brother who continues the family business. So,
Interesting.
so I kind of know my path, that I'm gonna hustle and I have to make my own differently, because my eldest brother, he's the one who's gonna handle the business. And when I was
Yeah.
young, I kind of know that already.
Hmm. And I assume that's what happened. He then kind of took it
Yes,
over.
yes. My eldest
Okay.
brother now is handling the brand, and he's doing well. He's doing good.
Okay. That's awesome. That's interesting, because we find, and there's ample statistics out there that I've read, where to get a small business to last a generation is a tall task that any entrepreneur can certainly attest to. But then to pass it on to a second generation and still have it thrive, harder. And then to go even to a third generation, that's very rare. That kind of puts you in a rare space. Do you see where you're from? Or is there a lot of that staying power where you have these brands that can go 3 or 4 generations?
So far, our company is 50 years old already, from
Okay.
manufacturing to owning it brand and to selling. Uh, I feel like for the third generation, because everything in time change and
Mhm.
everything becomes bigger, right? I think there's proper adaptive or change measure that a company should undergo, so you could prolong it when it's bigger. It's, I think, you change according to size and according to your operation. If you're like
Mhm.
operating in a small scale and you never change, you don't need to change your system. But if you change size and you have to change output, and you have to change management because you're bigger, then you have to change your system. So in line with what you're saying, I think we could last third, fourth generation, but there must be a change from the size that you're growing. I think
Mhm.
going public, maybe,
Yeah.
or whatever change needed, as long as it's not it's an improvement to what you're doing before.
Sure. Yeah, you always got to be kind of improving, growing along the way, of course.
Yeah.
And so what was I guess the first step that you took when you said, okay, I've been having this side hustle in the family business, making some money. Now you have a degree in computer engineering. But what was your first endeavor or step that you took? Was there kind of a pivotal moment there that started to kind of move you on your way?
Well, I tried a lot of stuff when I was young, and I learned a lot of lessons because I lost a lot of businesses when I was trying. But they're like small money.
Okay.
So some business I was successful, but I couldn't scale it. Like, things that I do is I collected aluminum cans and plastic bottles on schools and restaurant during closing time, and I would put it I would push it to recycling shop, and I would earn. So all the money that I buy from aluminum cans and plastic bottles, I would sell it to recycling shop, and I would
Okay.
earn. And that's for sure. That's sure money. And but I couldn't scale that because it's hard to scale something like that with low capital, and I was young. So
Mhm.
I changed the things that I said, let's try other stuff. But I made money there. Then also I I sell carts, food carts also, and food trucks. uh, on the street, and I talked with vendors. I entrusted them. At the beginning, I was earning money, and then at a later time, some food cart was suddenly stolen or wouldn't get back in the sales, and there was no legal binding stuff for me. So I learned my lesson fast. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is hard. Oh, this one I was due. But I was like 19 back then when I was
Okay.
trying it. Yeah.
Okay. No, interesting. Yeah, that I like that. Kind of like trying different things, seeing what works.
Every time I fail or I hit a wall in the business, I go back to my salesman skill, where I would sell what my friends are selling, whether they're papers, whether they're service, and say that I will get commission. And from there, I would always plant it to business people that I knew. I struck a lot of me changed when I put on a online platform business that says I would get it back in 2 years, but I didn't get back in 2 years. I got it on 3 years. But the patience and the test of being patient for another year after you're being patient for 2 years, that was a testament to, if you trust someone and you're doing good, just be patient with them.
Yeah.
And normally it will pan out. And at the third year, my partner returned all my capital. And then
What was this? What was this business
like
that you got into?
it's an business process outsourcing. It's like a call center.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. And so I guess what was your first kind of break? You know, because I think a lot of people, when they say, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be an investor, you know, those stories that you just shared are somewhat familiar, where, you know, we're going to college and then we're trying different things, just like you said, going and collecting bottles or cans and making some small change here or there based on how they're recycled, and you know, all different things like that, where we're becoming an entrepreneur, but we're grinding, we're waiting for a break. What was the first one where you said, okay, I think I have something here?
Oh, that one, the business process outsourcing. So
That
the
was it? Yeah.
BPO, that was really a changer, a life changing in my life, because the capital I put there was a little bit bigger because all my savings went there, and when it returned, the industry was growing, so my revenue grew too. So that was a game changer for me. I feel like every failure that I experienced was a lesson. So it's not really a failure. It's like learning math, learning trigonometry, learning science, learning biology, and eventually you will need to know physics, biology, and everything to invent something, right? So I feel like dealing with businesses and people, all my experience with selling cans and plastic bottles, and then talking to the vendors of food carts, and selling shoes and stuff, all those are compiled experiences and wisdom that I have to use in the future. Even now, I'm doing things in USA. I feel like I'm still learning here, because maybe 5 years from now, I'll be doing something bigger, that I would need all this experience and skills and people that I know.
Yeah, and I guess kind of fast forward a little bit. So what are some of those things? If you could just tell us kind of what a day in the life is like what you're working on right now. You know, we're recording this in June of 2024. What are you waking up excited for? And then maybe what's like the next goal that you're working at this stage of your life?
Oh, because now I'm putting money on some startups. So there's a platform we're gonna launch, but I don't want to say the brand yet. But it's
fine.
It's an app where the advertising money could be given to the users, and the users can use it inside the app for purchases, for things to do, that we gamify the real life.
Okay.
On a short description. Okay, and I'm excited with this, and we've been working this for like 5 years already, and I believe that it's almost done, and we're partnered with big companies.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, it sounds a little vague, but I'm sure we'll have to kind of wait and
Yeah.
see how that all plays out.
Other than that, I talk to all my partners because I have a lot of businesses now. So I talk
Mhm.
to the Bitcoin exchange, to the currency exchange that I have in Manila. I talk to APBren sometimes and ask how are they doing. But it's more
Mhm.
like I'm letting them run things, or I'm just observing how they are. It's like if don't have problems, it's okay. If they have problems, I can give suggestions and stuff. I'm more like on a letting go stage of some businesses, and there's a stage where I'm looking at them and then guiding them, and there's stage
Mhm.
also where I'm just hearing the feedbacks and then saying
Gotcha.
hopefully that turns out good because it's their journey. I let people and I let partners do their journey because
Mhm.
sometimes I can be controlling to everyone, but I think on
Sure.
the long run that's wrong. The best way is if, especially for me because I wear the angel investor hat now,
Mhm.
is let the founder or let the operations guy have their own path and journey. In the long run, it would be better.
How many businesses would you say you have right now?
More than 10 is for sure.
More than 10, you said?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
have an animation studio. I have a shoe company. I have a restaurant business. I have a online platform
Yep.
and restaurant. I got coffee chain. I got construction business, Panama. I got
Yep.
an oyster farm. I I got a factory that makes fire extinguisher in
Okay.
Penang. I have an esports company. I have an esports team, so that's 10 already.
Yep.
And I have also uh, in medical fields in making making online service like when you talk to doctors.
Mhm.
So we put that in we build that in Philippines. I have an
Okay.
easy franchise where uh, any group of 5 people or 10 people can put their money and make a franchise, and then we have the management uh, commission, and we take care of people who just work and want to franchise something. So
Okay.
I name at least 12 already, and
Yeah, no,
actually
that
I have a watch company in Switzerland. So there.
yeah, no, that's interesting. It's I think the main takeaway, I mean, I hear you rattle those off. They're like all over the map. Do you I guess a couple of questions I have here. I mean, do you have a favorite? And to that point, do you ever feel like you're kind of ever stepping out of your lane or your area of expertise that, you talk about managing a coffee company, a construction company, and then a watchmaker in Switzerland? They couldn't be further apart. Like, do you feel like skills translate well across all three, or there's some where there's a big learning curve to kind of get in the know?
I kind of like having fun while I'm living my life in a way,
Mhm.
because when I met them through playing games. Through when I play games, I met the kids also. So this is a long plant. This is not I planted just now, and I'm telling you now. This is like a 20-year work or a 15-year work. So
Yep.
15 years ago, I planted money to people, and it didn't become big. It became big because we were planting for 8 years, and then suddenly the watch company, something happened to it. But during the first 1 to 3 years in Switzerland, the watch company was like just really on a struggle and not doing anything. So
Sure.
some friends that I'm partner with, we were friends first in the gaming community, and
Okay.
I took time with them. So it's when you ask when I'm like stressed or how is it, I can say that I'm having fun because I feel like I'm learning stuff. It's like another chapter, another lesson, another part of the country, a part of the world that I don't know,
Yep.
and I get to visit. I get to know their family, their friends, their culture, and then
Mhm.
I kind of become more knowledge of, oh, this is how it is in Penang. Oh, this is how it is in Switzerland. Something
Yep.
like that.
So you're saying that a lot of these business endeavors that you've started all around the world, the bulk of them began, I should say, because of gaming with friends. That was like
Yes.
your networking.
Yes, my networking is play a social game with the chat, and then we would be very good in that game. And there's a competition. We all started with Clash Royale, actually.
You're
So,
kidding me.
yeah. And in Clash Royale, there's like a team, and you have a set of 50 in the clan, and then you compete clan for top clan, right? And this was like more than 10 years ago. And then there would be streams there. There would be streams in the YouTube where that we were competing. And then from there, I would meet and greet. So a meet up. So I would fly them and we would meet each other. And then from then we would know what you're doing. Oh, you're in construction. How could be a part of your construction business? And my friend from Panama says, oh, you put capital, we do this. This is the project and everything. And since I have a little money, I planted there. And then
if I could jump in there, Bernard, because like what you're describing, I've seen this in other kind of pursuits. Like for instance, I've seen car collectors, racing fans that travel around the country and they race like their exotic cars at different tracks. So and even like golf tournaments and golf trips. You see some of these ones that it's like, okay, it's fun. We're getting to know each other. We're competing. But we know that we walk in similar circles. Not everybody owns a Lamborghini. Not everybody's playing, at the best golf courses in the world. So, when you go there, that there's going to be a lot of a very high level networking going on. When you're playing Clash Royale and then you go to meet everybody, is it purely like on a friendship basis, or is there any sort of vetting of like, okay, I think some of these guys are real entrepreneurs or philanthropists, or like when you go there, I guess what's the expectation?
So have you played a competitive casual game in a clan? Not yet.
My kids do. I've never played it.
All right. So just to give you some insight on it,
please.
So you will have a clan and you will be competing and there will be trophies, right? And you would know who's performing and who's not. And we were the #1 clan back time. It's called Into the Light clan, and we were like the #1 in the whole world. So we know that members there were all disciplined. We're all focused. We're all of good character. So that's the vetting already. So it wasn't like I made the clan and then we meet up. We made a clan and we were #1 for 2 to 3 years.
How did you? So I got to get some more information on this. One, I'm assuming there's some strategy in there that this is, to be impressed by one another. That okay, we're climbing the ranks to #1. That there's maybe not chess, but there's some intuitive nature to the game.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm making my chess business too, so that's another thing.
Okay.
Anyway. So in the competition, there is a performance competitive. So you in the game you have to play, get your own personal trophies, and all the personal trophies will be added up. And then the #1 clan has who has the most trophies. So individually you're performing already to be in contribution with the whole clan. And to do that for 3 years, 2 years, you're vetted already that you're disciplined, you don't quit. Their character is like when you're focused, and if there's challenge, you really have to, overcome them, and like how you talk to them, how you manage, and how they skill. So that time I kind of know that in my clanmates, all were good people already, all were disciplined. They were actually surprised because I feel like I'm the oldest person there. And all my friends were like 5 years younger than me, 10 years younger than me. Some were 20 years younger than me.
If you don't mind, how old were you like when you started, when you were kind of starting that climb to #1 clan in Clash Royale?
I was 30 years old.
30. And so the peers were like 25 or so?
34 years old. So some friends were 34, that makes 8 years. So some friends were just 15, some friends were just 25, and some friends were like in their 20s when they're playing.
Okay. And now that clan that you mentioned, did you guys seek one another out? Were you all top like individual players and then you message each other like, hey, let's come together?
Yes. So actually the publishers of game, they don't know it, but they probably do. They do good thing in community when they make social gaming possible, because people all over the world will become friends out of it. And
sure.
And it's really a good thing. So so that's how I met them.
Yeah, no, I find this very interesting. So that initial clan where you guys got to like the top of the charts, how many players were in your clan?
Oh, there were 50 in the clan, 50 players in the clan.
50? 50?
Yeah, 50.
Okay. And then,
Yeah.
and so you guys are communicating, you're competing, I guess, on a regular basis, and you develop friendships. I mean, obviously the kid that's 15 years old probably won't become a business partner.
Yes.
How,
Yes. Some
how
of
did
them.
that all kind of, how
Yes.
did that mature from like, we're having fun on a video game to now we're building really, established businesses?
So I asked them all to fly in my country, Philippines, before,
Okay.
but they don't want because some news, some stories that maybe the Philippines is not a good place to to go, but it's not true. The Philippines is a wonderful place to visit, and people there are hospitable. That's just the probably the insight of people who, or the kids, because you won't send kids there, right? So
Yep.
my story is I sponsored a meet and greet in LA,
Okay.
in Beverly Hills Mansion. And then from there, all we just know is our call signs, like Ben's Light, Lolo Light, Into the Light clan, right? And we
Okay.
don't know the real person name. We set a
Oh
meeting.
my gosh.
I flew them wherever they are, but mostly are Americans. But some are
Okay.
in Panama, Chile, some in Switzerland, some in Australia, some
Okay.
in Indonesia, Vietnam. We flew together in Beverly Hills.
And you
And then,
financed this?
yes.
Wow. That was very generous.
Yeah, well, you can say it's finance, or you can say it's like a planting, because I'm planting, I'm spending to meet good people with
Mhm.
I know that they come from good families, and it
How,
was 50 of
how
them.
do you know that? Like, I mean, I'm not really into video games right now. I had played in the past. My kids are very into video games, and particularly the social ones, like you just had mentioned, Brawl Stars, Clash Royale, things like that. How do you know it's not just some college kid skipping his classes playing all day versus, I feel like if I was to commit a lot of time to a video game, that would take away my time as an author or as a investor or financial advisor. There's only so many things you could do. It just seems like such a unique way of kind of like vetting a network.
Well, like I said, it's not that you know everything at the moment. You
Mhm.
kind of know percentages, like, oh, they're disciplined. But of course, you don't know if they're kids, and maybe they're just nothing to do. That's why they're just playing games all day. But
Correct. Yeah.
so you gotta meet them, and you gotta talk to them, and then you gotta know, assess. So I think my level of maturity and experience also add into, I can more guide young people now, and see to them if they're missing something, or if I need to inspire them, because this is the circle, this is my world, like
Mhm.
this is my circle, this is my friends, and talking to them, you might learn something. We have shared experience going to travel and stuff, you might learn something. So I'm
Mhm.
more about networking and growing the network.
So when you did this, you kind of sponsor this big trip, bring everybody together in Beverly Hills, get to meet each other. In the back of your head, was it, hey, we're just going to meet, we're going to talk, befriend one another, and maybe play new games or find new games to do or whatever?
Yeah.
Or was there a part of you thinking, hey, I want to meet at least a couple people here that come from means where now I can have a business partner?
Yes. So like I said, my partner from Panama, we do a 180-acre construction. So I met him through this Clash Royale, and
Yep.
and I'm business with him for like 8 years already. So
Okay.
so that's an example.
Yep.
So again, when I meet them, it's like knowing the forest and the trees at the same time. You got to see the long picture, but you got to see the individual first. And you have to vet them also on a more serious note. So
Yep.
the less serious note is like, oh, they're focused on the clan, on the game, and they're
Yep.
focused on our welfare. But the next level to it is like, if I'm gonna do business with you, are you serious enough, or do you have the capacity? Should I teach you, or you know already? What's your background? And from there, you will know how to step into, from step 1 to step 2. You will now say, okay, this is step 3 and this is step
Mhm.
4 before you go to 10.
Yeah.
So that's what happened when I meet people. It's not that I see 10 already. or I see
Yeah.
the long version. I can imagine it because it's just with your mind. You imagine it like, all right, we can have a good future, but you
Yep.
still have to do it step by step. This is the thing that
Gotcha.
you do first. It's like also maybe dating. You meet
Mm-hmm.
someone, you give a chat, you connect first, you go to a dinner, lunch first, you talk, and then for a certain time you kind of know them deeper, better, and then you kind of know if you're going to do something together in business or whatever.
That's so fascinating to me. And you know what? I'm sure there's some people that are listening to this that are maybe not gamers or familiar with it that say, hey, this just sounds nuts. But the reason I think what you're saying is very legitimate is I went to a wedding. This was probably 8 or 10 years ago. And so I get invited to the wedding. I'd never met this couple before. It was kind of an introduction. But anyways, I go as a date. I meet the couple, and the groom, who I'm talking with him, he says, oh, my best man's not here yet. And I was like, okay, I guess he's running a little bit late to your wedding. And he's like, I'd never met him before. And I was like, baffled. I'm like, what do you mean you never met your best man that is about to, hand you the wedding ring? And so long story short, they had played, what was it called? World of Warcraft, I believe, was like a very, very big online kind of gaming where you have these, gigantic things on the internet. So anyways, they had been playing that together.
Have you played World of Warcraft? Have you?
I have not. No.
I believe that really, if you have a buddy in those kinds of games where you go through a monster and you have to beat them and you have to beat them together, I mean, I would understand why he made him his best friend, my best man. Yeah,
and that literally
they through a lot of challenges, probably from young level to whatever level, and you just don't
sounded
know
that way.
Yeah,
and he got up and he gave the speech,
each other, but they just didn't see their real name. But I'm sure
Correct.
he knows the person. Like, hey, I need this. Help me with this. I'm sure there was some bonding and a strengthening of, I'm gonna do this. You can depend on me. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure they were that.
It's true. That's the exact point I was going to make. Is like when I heard it at first, I was like, "What the heck? Like, who are these people?" And then when he got up and he gave the speech in front of everybody at the wedding, the best man, when he gave the speech, it was incredible. And the way that they were together, you would have thought that they were best friends from preschool. The stories that they shared together and how close that bond seemed. And the fact that they had never met face to face until that day, until his wedding day, it blew my mind. But I was like, wow, I guess that's the way you can really create such a strong relationship for some people over, these things or over the internet. That was the first I'd ever seen that. But it seems like you're doing that in a different manner where you're able to parlay that into other businesses.
Yeah. So I think our society, especially the gaming, becomes mature, and it's really good that there's community with them. So because a lot of population, there would be niches, there will be friends like in real sports, and there was friends in esports, and that's just how our world is evolving now.
So what do you think, if I could kind of like digress a little bit, you hear so much right now about mental health, about social media, especially with teenagers and young adults, that they're just bombarded with all these different voices and images and all different things that are having a real impact on them, lots of times negatively. What is your take? Like, if you had children that were playing a game, but online with other people for 10 hours a day, would you be saying, hey, get up and go outside and play soccer, go run around, go hang out with your buddy down the block? Or would you be okay seeing them kind of on that, on World of Warcraft, let's say, all day?
That's a very good question. And now that I think of it, because I got kids who are just staying in computer, and I have kids also who have a normal life, which is normal to my standard. Like, they go out and everything, right? But I feel like as long as they're functioning, as long as you ask them, their motor functions is activated, they walk, they eat, they sleep, and whatever they do, you just let them. Because I feel like each person have their own path. Now, if you say nowadays they're bombarded with negativity and what, my take with that is maybe this is just a thought, but I really believe that we're on a society now or the timeline now where our standard of living is improved a lot more than the
Sure.
kings before. We have access to information, we have access to food also. So I feel like it's if it's bad now, you say the negativity. I'm sure 50 years ago or 100 years ago, there were also similar negativity without proper information to help them. Now, if you want to be informative, if you want to get information, you just put on the net, ask for any positive traits, ask for good music, ask for whatever advices you have, and there would be people giving their good knowledge, wisdom, experience posting in the net, and for children or other people to access them. So I feel like it's not bad. We're improving. Instead of saying it's negative, I feel like it's positive, and it's just like maybe before we just don't know, but surely the variables now is because information is there.
Yeah.
So it's got to be better than there's no information access like before.
That's a different spin on it.
Yeah, that's my
no, that's fair. That's a different way to look at it. So I guess, and I'm going to come back to, I have a lot of questions on the business.
Okay.
But growing up, when did you play video games as a kid?
I played Dota. I played Street Fighter. I played Diablo. I played StarCraft. Warcraft.
But a lot of the, like what you just said, a lot of them weren't on the internet yet, right?
Yeah, but it's like I said.
So this would have been sitting down with like your next door neighbor or your buddy from school playing together, right?
You go to arcades, you play.
Correct.
Like I said, there's a development of before there was not a clan. So you play one-on-one. You play Mario Brothers, just a one-player game, right? But you get to learn how to navigate the problems, how to solve. You know, you're gonna jump, you're gonna not jump, and you're gonna sprint. All these are like the things that you're getting to know. So the future games, you kind of like know, hey, I've experienced this, and I will use this. And then gradually, the games change to a 5-on-5 like Dota. Do you know Defense of the Ancient, Dota? It's very famous.
I've never heard of it. No.
Well, Street Fighter, you heard Street Fighter,
of
right?
course, yeah.
So it comes from one player to two players. Now you're against someone and you're battling. So so then you would have, since a battle, then you will have one side on the player one side on player two, and you would have like community there. And then as it evolves, the community, the friendship evolves too. You know?
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Yeah, it is. And I guess one of the points I have is like when I played more video games, let's say like around the college years, some of the most fun we had is like we would get maybe 8 people together, or 10 of our buddies together, and we'd play Madden or FIFA and just have like this big tournament where we're screaming and yelling and laughing. And I see a lot of that now. It does kind of happen, but it's like behind the airwaves of the internet where, you know, they don't have that connectivity. And that's what was so much fun, was just being with our friends, you know, playing all night. I don't know if it's the same when it's kind of like I'm on a headset behind a screen, you know, just by myself. And that's, I guess, the concern that a lot of people have about kids, is if they don't get to have that kind of face-to-face interaction.
Yeah, but I think nowadays the publishers, they're kind of like making constant improvement. Maybe they hear our podcast, and maybe the next time they play game, it's like on Riverside, you know, where you see the faces and then you play game, but there's a small, you know, window there where the real face of the person can there. We don't know. Maybe the publishers hear this and they make changes. And
it's true. I think even if you look at like what Mark Zuckerberg is doing with Meta, you know, with a lot of the VR, the virtual reality, I think that's really his goal, is that you can actually see. And I know like the latest iteration that he has, where we're recording on Riverside right now, like I look at your picture, and then the people watching this recording will see me look down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I look up at my camera where I don't exactly see you, but we're looking eye to eye. The way that Zuckerberg has it is like I can look, and the camera is almost as if it were in your face. So we are looking eye to eye. So you see these advancements, and it is crazy because it
But-
seems like Ready Player One,
Yeah,
where it
but
could.
we have to praise them and respect them, because people who are investing for a change, for a betterment of the society, is making the hard choices, and they're really sacrificing a lot for the future, and we should really praise people who does this.
Yeah, I agree. And so what is so your company, I know what you're pretty well known for is founding Bren Esports. What exactly is that for those of us that are maybe not as familiar?
Well, my idea of Bren Esports before was to be the team in all esports. What I mean is, for example, you're a Los Angeles Lakers owner, all right?
Mhm.
And then you have a Los Angeles Lakers in basketball, in baseball, in football, in ice hockey. Same team name, Los Angeles Lakers. And my thought
Okay.
was the Los Angeles Lakers as a team brand will be known all over the world, or all over the sports industry and all over the community, because they're known in basketball and in football and in baseball and in ice hockey. So because esports has different publishers, there's Dota, Counter-Strike, there's like FIFA, other brands, Clash Royale, Mobile Legends, and whatever. I feel like if I have a brand, Bren Esports, which is now an APBren name, and they become champion or famous in all tournaments, I feel like that name will be more valued, and then we could get sponsorship out of it. But I was looking at it long term. That was the plan.
Okay. Has that happened? Like, are you still trying to pursue that?
Well, again, everything takes time. So
Sure.
winning world champion in M2 and then winning again in M5 definitely helps us to secure the name that it's forever there. But again, it's a long road too, because we have to see that that's not the ending. This is just part of the beginning. Where's the team gonna be 5 years from now, 10 years from now? So it's a work on progress.
When you said like you won M2, you won M5, for people that are not so in the gaming business, what does that mean?
So we won World Champ M2. So you can Google
it. Is that a
it.
game?
Yeah, Mobile Legend. That's Mobile Legends. And we were World Champ. The Philippine become the World Champ during Bren Esports. And then M5 APBren, the Philippines as a country again become World Champ on that competition stage.
How many people are playing in that, just to give us like an idea?
I need to Google it, but I feel like 50 million or more people playing it.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. That's insane. And so you want to take that and have essentially this power team that can win there, but then could also win at Call of Duty or win at
hopefully that's the
whatever
plan.
else.
You know, Brian, it just occurred to me. So you don't know how many players were there, which I don't know too, right? But sometimes in life we kind of know what we're doing in our age. So in our industry, then suddenly there's like younger generations who they have their own community and they're so big there, but you don't know them because it's for their own age group.
Correct.
Is their age group. In their age group, they're so famous there. And then in our age group, it's like we don't know them. We don't really stumble upon them. But I think our society is becoming more and more diverse and niche, where there would be a lot of community that's self-surviving or growing that we wouldn't hear of. We wouldn't hear of because of our we have our own focus and agenda too.
And so how much time, if I could dive a little bit deeper kind of under the hoods, how much time do you dedicate to like Bren Esports, to doing all the things that we're describing right now? Like if you can just kind of let us know, like what's a work week for you? I know you're a family man, so you're balancing things. How many hours a week are you working? And then how much of that is it specifically carved out to focus almost like a general manager of a sports team on your...
Actually, Brian, I don't have a real work now, and except for the things that I'm starting, which is I'm just guiding them. And before in Bren Esports, I was hands-on at the very beginning. because I was forming it and guiding it in paperwork and stuff. And that's just like for the first 3 months. After that, I have a head, and my head, I let them be. And gradually, as the years progress, I let go. I let them run by themselves. And I just make sure I talk to them for if it's important, if it's a decision that's needed by the board or something before in Bren Esports, then that's where I step in. Otherwise, I let them be.
So for like Bren Esports, you have like essentially a board of directors or like an organization to it?
Well, actually, there was just 3 boards, three boards because it was just starting. But again, what I mean is I usually spend time at the very beginning because I'm setting it up and guiding it, the principles and the core values. So we're aligned to move forward. But then I let go and I let them do their journey. So that was always been my thing. But again, I'm an angel investor hat. So it's really not wise also for an angel investor to really control the fund, the operator.
Yeah. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that. I've even referenced many times, like in my business as a financial advisor, as you bring on, a younger associate or you bring on an assistant and different things like that, where now you're introducing your clients to these other faces that they're not so familiar with. It's like a leap of faith that they're going to carry forward the same quality of service that everyone's gotten accustomed to. I think every business owner kind of like struggles with that, where at least I have a lot of my clients, they kind of share a similar emotion that you just hope that they continue to uphold a certain standard. And if they don't, unfortunately, it's a direct reflection usually on the brand or on that the entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, there's standards that you have to uphold. Of course, you have to, so you're aligned. But sometimes also, you have to let people be. And as long as their heart is good, they will surprise you in a way that, hey, I didn't know that this is also, you might learn something from them too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's like, all keeping open minded.
If you have a junior associate and you guide them like really rigid, then you wouldn't know the possibility of him stumbling into something unique that you might also learn.
Correct.
So my style, so my style is I let them be. And I just talk to them as often as I can.
That's great. Whatever works at the end of the day. And so in angel investing, for those who maybe are not familiar, this is kind of providing some capital for a very, very young company, hoping it really blows up, turns into something impressive. What's, if you don't mind sharing, what's the biggest capital investment you've made in your career thus far?
Well, on a capital made, I just put 100K USD to 200K USD. My biggest was 800K USD on businesses. Okay. But what type of business was that in, if you don't mind? So I put on a Austin based medical company called M-Disrupt. And they're like trying to be the Google in medicine. So I put 800K there. So was just to give some folks that maybe dabble in that or not so familiar, kind of getting into it initially. Give us some of the timeline if you can. Like, when did you make that initial investment? If we can just kind of follow along here. Oh, so that was referred by my good friend who was a banker, and they said there's a person who's handling M-Disrupt who is really good and really reaching the target, and the account is growing, but they need capital. So that was not actually an angel invest, because that was established already, and he heard of me, and we talked, and then I said, will you put money there? He said, yeah, I'll put money. Okay, if you put money, I'll put money. And then they were raising, I think, $1 million, $2 million round, and I committed 800, and I give it in tranches too. So that's what I did. That's because you asked the biggest money that I put. Now,
got it. Yeah, so I guess maybe that's not the best example. If we're talking real angel investing, I guess the question I'm getting at is, like, you make a decent chunk of change. You said usually 100 to 200.
Yes.
When would you expect to see that coming back to you,
I mean,
if ever?
I'm blessed to have my own income, so I know that when I plant, I would see it like for 7 years, 10 years, 20 years.
Okay.
So I'm patient. I'm not really. Let's just say I don't know the proper English. It's not tight. I'm not. I'm not worried to plant the money for a long time.
Okay, got it. So you're playing the long game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And along the way, and feel free to tell me if we're prying too much or if you can
No, it's
kind of
okay.
divulge even more and more.
Anything, Brian.
What some of your financial plan, what is that looking like? Along the way, are you, for instance, in your head saying, okay, I'll put X amount of money into equities, into blue chip stocks, or I'll put X into real estate, or do I just take everything and put it into startups and hope to hit the occasional home run?
Okay, Brian. So now that I'm in USA, I feel like a lot of people here put money on the money market, right? Blue chip stock and everything. I came from the east, so my way of putting money is on people and in businesses. So I'm starting to understand and learn now to put money on the money market just now. So
In the stock
you may
market,
say, yeah, you may say that I'm a newbie here because some
Okay.
people, when they were young, they kind of heard it from their father and everything, but because they grew up in America maybe, or in the first world country. So
Yep.
my experience is I'm putting money on people and in businesses, and I grow the business. I grow with the people, and I heard
Yep.
their experience, their challenges, how they solve it. So I get the wisdom there. So
Yep.
so I kind of like my journey too because it works. That's why I'm still I'm still able to move forward on what I'm doing, and I'm not stopping. So and despite all the challenges, I'm continually moving forward. And
Okay.
I feel like my formula works too. But again, I like to learn how money market is being played and made or something. So
Yep.
I'm in this stage now where I'm still learning it. But
Gotcha.
it's not like my main concern because I'm doing well now on
Got it.
how I do my thing. And
Yeah.
I believe that when I put angel money on people, I kind of learn their ideas, I kind of know their business, and I can suggest too, and I can integrate their businesses with other businesses. For example, if I have a call center, I would say, hey, all your call center needs, you just put it in our call center. If I have a website design making company, 31 Digital, which is a part of, and then I'll say, hey, if you need a website, maybe you can get it from our company, which is I make it. So
so you kind of cross pollinate,
and then cross pollinate.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And what is just because I find a lot of this very interesting, and I know people are going to want to replicate some of what you're doing. You mentioned that you have a steady income, which I think that's like the key ingredient that I see some people skip. They say, hey, I want to make an angel investment in whatever new sexy idea they heard. They want to try and hit a home run, but they don't have that foundation in place yet. When you say you have a steady income, what is that from, if you don't mind? Like, what's the main source that, even if the angel investments have a real rough run for 3 years, what is your bread and butter that you count on every day?
So wait, I'll just silent this one, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
So my bread and butter is some commissions on sales still, because I do sell my continuous line of selling. So there's a repeat order on certain stuff because I've been selling for like 15-20 years already. So
is this in your in the family business, or
in Philippines? And then
okay,
sometimes I get consulting jobs. They consult and then they give me some payment so too. But I have the BPO company, and we share money there, so that's also nice. So
that's the call center.
Yeah. So I think because what I planted on a 20-year timeline or 15-year timeline, so I get income from there, and it's from there that I can plant still after feeding the family, after paying rent and stuff, or whatever offices that I need, and then I can replant it. because
Got it.
knowing for sure that next month I still have stable money coming in.
Gotcha. Okay. No, that makes sense. And so if we could pivot a little bit, I know you're a big chess player, which is great. I wish I had time to play more chess. I love the game. You mentioned in some of the things that you talk about, chess lessons in life. Can you share maybe a couple just kind of quick ones that you've learned, be it from chess or maybe your favorite video game or anything that you feel like actually does translate over into the business world?
Well, in chess, you kind of like see the board and you have to react on the opponent's move, right? So I guess in life too, you have to see yourself as a whole picture of you, of where you're going, what's your pieces, who's your friends, what you're doing, and then make the best move in according to your vision of what you're seeing. And I think it's very important.
Got it. Where do you play chess? Do you play? I assume you probably play that online as well.
I'm trying to play chess online because sometimes I have no person to play with. But back before, I playing like face-to-face chess. So I like to go to New York. I play in face-to-face chess in the parks.
Oh, that's cool. That's great. And I know you try and mix in some philanthropy throughout all of this. You have where you do your global education, I believe, called BrenSEED Foundation.
Yes.
Can you tell us what that's about and where that fits into the whole kind of makeup of your routine?
Well, I feel like before somebody taught me when I was young, and I feel lucky that being blessed that people also invested with me when I was young through their time, lessons, and I become a better person, I believe, through them. And I feel like I like to give back now that I can teach what I know, I can share what I know, and I have the means also to provide education to some people who are misfortunate if they can. So I feel like I want to give back also what I can on small things that I can too. I feel like we have to do good also on what we can.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think that's the very noble pursuit too. Is there anything else, Bernard, as we kind of wrap up here that you want to share, either your latest ventures or tips, anything that you'd want to maybe tell your younger self, that you could have done differently that perhaps you could kind of share with our audience?
Well, I wish I could have done more than waste time. Like to the younger self, don't be afraid to test things, because everything can be learned and everything can be solved. Even though you do something and it wasn't successful, you learned something from it too. And that's really good. And that's important too, rather than just sitting on the corner and not doing anything.
Well said. I agree 100%. You got to get out there. You got to make mistakes. Fail fast, as they often say. So I just want to transition in closing to one of our favorite segments, the lightning round, if that's okay. And we'll just fire questions at you.
Okay.
And you tell us, the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
All right. Number one, what is your favorite book?
Now is favorite book, Thick Face Black Heart by Ning Ning Ching. So it tells you the how you has to be tough to train people.
Okay. What was the name of it again?
Thick Face Black Heart. It's an Asian book. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And then favorite movie?
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Yeah, that's a classic. I love it. And so you've traveled a lot, obviously. You're from the Philippines, came here to New York, and now reside in California. So you've seen a lot. What's your favorite destination or vacation?
Okay, only because I'm from Asia, I like USA, NBA is here, NFL is here, baseball is here. So yeah, so it's like this is like something new to me still. But Switzerland is good. Switzerland is good too. It's really fresh air and stuff. I recently been to Hawaii, and the water there is clean and stuff. So only because I'm not from America that I like America. Because to me, this is like very new to me.
Okay. California or New York?
They have their both flavors. California is where you put roots. But New York is, I think, the best city in the world.
Okay, awesome. And this one I have to ask you, what is your favorite game?
Has to be Dota still.
I don't know that one. It's called Dota?
Yeah, Defense of the Ancient. It's from Warcraft, it's from Warcraft 3, and then they make a 5-on-5, and then you kill the tree. It's really good, but you really have to know the skills, the weapons and stuff. I mean, there are many fun games. Chess is good, Clash Royale is good. I mean, Street Fighter, Mario Brothers, Diablo is good, but you said favorite game. And
that's it.
With Dota. Me, Dota is really something. I have a lot of emotions.
Okay, awesome. Well said. And what time do you wake up in the morning?
Wake up 4 or 5 a.m.
And what's the first thing you're doing if you do have a morning routine?
I would exercise a bit, and then I would check what's happening in opposite world in Manila before they sleep, and then I do my thing too in USA.
Gotcha. And who was your hero growing up, if you had one?
My father was my hero. My father had a tough life too, and he taught me a lot. So my hero is my father.
Okay, interesting. And then last question, if you could change one thing about the world today, what would it be?
There's a lot of change needed, but I think if we could put internet and information to every inch of the world so that people can talk to, can ask help, and could learn, I think that would be a great thing to do.
Yeah, I think that's a great goal. That would be really cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, Bernard. And where can people follow you if they want to learn more or just keep up with you or maybe even play you in a game? Can you share where they can find you?
I have Instagram. I am Bren Chong and Facebook too. So they can follow me there.
Okay. All right. Terrific. Well, thank you very much for your time, Bernard. Everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Caderna Podcast. I'm Brian Caderna. Wherever you're listening or watching, remember to subscribe, leave us a review, and we will see you next time. This podcast is intended for the general public and for informational purposes only. The show does not provide any recommendations or investment advice regarding any specific account type, service, strategy, or product, or to otherwise act in any fiduciary or other capacity. Please contact a financial professional for guidance and information that is specific to your situation. Brian Caderna does not provide tax or legal advice. Please contact your accountant or legal advisor to discuss your situation. Guest speakers and their firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by Park Avenue Securities, Guardian, or Caderna Financial Team, and opinions stated are their own. All investments contain risk and may lose value. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. References to specific securities, asset classes, and financial markets are for illustrative purposes only and do not constitute a solicitation, offer, or recommendation to purchase or sell a security. Brian Caderna is a registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, PAS. OSJ 300 Broadacres Drive, Suite 175, Bloomfield, New Jersey, 07003. Phone number 973-244-4420. Securities products and advisory services offered through PAS, member FINRA SIPC. Financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. PAS is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Caderna Financial Team is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. California Insurance License Number 0K04194.